Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into a comprehensive analysis of Microvast Holdings Inc., ticker symbol MVST, a company that's making waves in the electric vehicle and energy storage space. If you're curious about whether this stock deserves a spot in your portfolio, stick around because we're breaking down everything from financials to recent performance, valuation, and more. Let's get started. So, what's the big picture with Microvast? This is a company focused on designing and manufacturing battery systems for electric vehicles and energy storage solutions. They've positioned themselves as a key player in a rapidly growing industry, and with the global push towards electrification, there's a lot of potential here. But potential doesn't always translate to profits, and that's what we're here to figure out. Let's take a closer look at who they are and what they bring to the table. All right, let's talk about Microvast's background. Founded in 2006 and based in Stafford, Texas, Microvast Holdings Inc. is all about advanced battery technologies. They offer a range of products, from lithium-ion battery cells to complete battery systems, catering to commercial vehicles like buses, trucks, and even passenger EVs. Their reach spans across the U.S. and international markets, which gives them a diversified customer base. With around 1,900 employees and a mission to power the future of clean energy, they're led by CEO Yang Wu. But being in a competitive space like battery tech means they've got to innovate fast and execute flawlessly. So, how are they doing on that front? Let's dig into the numbers. Let's start with revenue, because that's where the growth story begins. In 2025, Microvast reported full-year revenue of about $427.5 million, a solid jump from $379.8 million in 2024. That's roughly a 12.5% year-over-year increase, showing they're gaining traction. Rewind a few years, and you'll see they've come a long way. Back in 2021, revenue was just $152 million. The consistent upward trend is promising, especially in a capital-intensive industry like this. Their focus on commercial EV markets, particularly in regions pushing for green transportation, seems to be paying off. Now, while I don't have the exact breakdown by product or geography right now, the overall growth tells me demand for their battery solutions is strong. But revenue is just one piece of the puzzle. Let's see if they're turning that into profits. Moving over to earnings, here's where things get a bit bumpy. For 2025, Microvast posted a net loss of $29.2 million, or about -9 cents per share. Compare that to 2024, where they lost $195.5 million, or -61 cents per share. And you can see they've narrowed the gap significantly. That's a positive sign, but they're still not profitable. Their operating income, though, flipped to a positive $40.5 million in 2025, up from a loss of $116.1 million the year before. This tells me they're getting a better handle on costs, even if net income hasn't caught up yet. The trend of shrinking losses is encouraging, but for long-term investors, consistent profitability is the name of the game. Let's keep this in mind as we move forward. Now let's dive into the financial statements for a broader picture of Microvast's health. On the balance sheet, as of the end of 2025, they had $104.9 million in cash and cash equivalents, up from $73 million in 2024. Total assets stood at just over $1 billion, while total liabilities were around $594.9 million. Their debt-to-equity ratio is sitting at about 0.45, which isn't overly concerning, but it's something to watch as they scale. Looking at cash flow, they generated $75.9 million from operating activities in 2025, a huge improvement from just $2.8 million in 2024. Free cash flow also turned positive at $56.1 million, compared to a negative $24.9 million the prior year. This shows they're starting to generate cash internally, which is critical for a growth company that needs to fund R&D and expansion. Still, with a current ratio below 1 at 0.92, liquidity could be a concern if growth stalls. Overall, the financials are improving, but they're not out of the woods yet. All right, let's talk valuation. At the current price of around $1.65 per share, Microvast has a market cap of roughly $547.8 million. Their price-to-sales ratio for the trailing 12 months is about 1.13, which isn't outrageous for a growth stock in the EV space. However, with a price-to-earnings ratio of negative 16.27 due to ongoing losses, traditional metrics like PE don't tell us much. Looking at forward PE estimates, analysts peg 2026 at around 14.85, suggesting the market expects profitability soon. Enterprise value is around $562.3 million, factoring in debt, which keeps the valuation in a reasonable range compared to revenue. But here's the kicker. High beta of 3.6 means this stock is volatile, so any misstep could tank the price. For me, the valuation looks intriguing if they can hit those growth targets, but it's not a slam dunk. Let's break down Microvast using a SWOT analysis to get a clearer picture of where they stand. Starting with strengths, their innovative battery tech and focus on commercial EVs give them a niche in a high-growth market. They've got a global presence, which diversifies risk. On the weaknesses side, persistent losses and a tight liquidity position are red flags. They need to turn profitable soon. Opportunities are massive with the EV boom and government incentives for clean energy worldwide. If they can scale production efficiently, the sky's the limit. But threats loom large. Intense competition from bigger players, supply chain disruptions, and recent legal investigations into potential securities fraud could shake investor confidence. Balancing these factors, I see a company with potential but significant hurdles to clear. Now, let's check out Microvast's recent performance on the charts. Over the past year, the stock is up about 3.7%, which sounds okay until you zoom out. Over 5 years, it's down a staggering 87.4%. Ouch. More recently, the last month saw a 21.4% drop, and the past 3 months are down 34.3%. This kind of volatility screams risk, especially with a beta of 3.6. Compared to the broader industrial sector, which is up 28.3% over the past year, MVST is lagging. Short term, there's no clear momentum, and I'd be cautious about expecting a quick rebound without major catalysts. For long-term investors, this might be a wait-and-see stock until the fundamentals catch up. Let's wrap up the deep dive with an intrinsic value analysis to see if Microvast is undervalued or overpriced. Using a discounted cash flow approach, I've factored in their recent revenue growth, improving cash flows, and the high growth potential of the EV battery market. I've assumed a conservative growth rate of around 10 to 12% annually for the next few years, tapering off as competition intensifies, with a discount rate reflecting the stock's high risk. After running the numbers, my intrinsic value estimate comes in around $2.50 to $3 per share, compared to the current price of $1.65. That suggests there could be some upside here, but it's heavily dependent on execution, hitting revenue targets, achieving profitability, and avoiding legal or operational setbacks. If they stumble, that intrinsic value could shrink fast. So, while the stock looks potentially undervalued, it's a high-risk bet.
MarketSnap brings everything long-term investors use daily into one clean, fast platform. Explore stock financials, SWOT analysis, valuation ratios, 5-year analyst estimates, and our intrinsic value calculator, built with real fundamentals, not hype. All in a layout that's simple to read and ridiculously fast to navigate. And when you want to talk investing, join Nexus, our community where investors share valuations, posts, and stock discussions, all connected directly to the data. Use our stock's intrinsic value calculator to run and save real valuations with no spreadsheets. Share your analysis and valuations with others in the Nexus community. Get daily market summaries in video, audio, and article formats. Track the market with our earnings, dividend, and economics calendar. Our homepage gives you a real-time market overview with interactive heat maps, top market movers, and major index performance at a glance. Track daily performances, discover the most active stocks, and analyze performance across different timeframes, from weekly to yearly trends, and see which industries are leading or lagging. It's free to create an account, with optional access to premium forward-looking data. Try it now at MarketSnap.com and invest with clarity, not noise. That's a wrap for today's stock market summary from MarketSnap. Thanks for tuning in, and make sure to stick with us for daily updates and deep dive SWOT analyses to keep your investment strategy sharp. Whether you're navigating short-term turbulence or building wealth for the long haul, we've got the insights to help. See you tomorrow.